Let's talk about burning churches. Let's talk about burning churches. I see a lot of people talking about burning churches these days, and it's not just the metalheads anymore, right? It used to be that they're all like, "Oh, Varg," but now it's becoming mainstream. All the cool kids are burning churches, or more accurately, everyone's getting pissy about the fact that churches are burning, and everyone's losing their minds about the burning of churches, and people who aren't losing their minds about it getting all upset or going, well, I don't support the burning of churches. It's not right, but there's definitely. Here's the thing. I'm just gonna say this. First and foremost, we don't know who's burning churches. We don't have a fucking clue. The number one everyone's blaming is indigenous people over the whole residential school system and the bodies that are being found. And it is entirely possible that indigenous people have burnt one or more church. That doesn't mean that indigenous people are to blame. It's just one possible answer to the question. Another example would be, I don't know, the Catholic Church. I don't buy this. I've seen a lot of people conspiratorizing, whatever the word for that is, about how it's probably the Catholic Church burning their own buildings to hide the evidence. I don't really buy that. I think the Catholic Church isn't going to provide evidence no matter what, and they don't really have to burn buildings to do that. The cost to them of replacing those churches is probably substantial, so I feel like that's a non-starter, but it's not outside the realm of possibility, so we'll include it. I'll give you another example of groups that might be guilty of this. Accelerationists. Those people who want to bring about a race war so that the white folk can come out on top and create an ethno-state. That sounds like crazy stuff, like tinfoil hat stuff, but it's not. There are people who are accelerationists. And this isn't a new concept, and it's not even a right-wing concept. Apparently, Karl Marx was an accelerationist. The idea behind accelerationism is to push the system to its natural conclusion and to do anything you can to make worse the problems that will lead to a system falling apart, so that you can then rebuild the new system in its place when it fails. Accelerationism has been in the news lately because there are groups, and I can't think of the name of the big one that was in the news just a while ago, but essentially, I think the Boogaloos are accelerationists, and there's a bunch of these groups, and what their idea is that if the society becomes unstable enough and starts to collapse, then they can rebuild their white ethno-state. So they do things to push forward the idea of a racial war. So if you've got a church that's burning and everyone immediately goes, "Oh, it was the indigenous," that would feed right into the hands of an accelerationist, and an accelerationist would be like, "We should burn more churches because this will move us closer and closer to that awesome Rehowa we all want, and will bring about the end times for anyone that's not honky white like me." I'm not saying it's accelerationist. I'm saying we don't fucking know. It could be one guy who's a pissed off ex-janitor who's just like traveling the world, burning down churches. Who fucking knows? We don't know. Speculating right now, I get why we're doing it, especially given the timing. But we don't know the who or the why. When it comes to vandalizing churches, I think it's a pretty easy bet that it's probably indigenous people who are smearing red paint all over and writing numbers like 215 or whatever the current number, the current tally of dead bodies that have been found is. And that's less of a concern because you're not burning stuff down. As far as the morality of burning down a church, first and foremost, I am very hesitant about the idea of burning anything right now because we've had such a fucked up heat dome bullshit year. Fire bad. Fire really bad. I am not saying, oh, those people are threatening. Fuck that. Fuck all of that. I'm saying I wouldn't burn a church because I think that it's a dangerous time to do that, and probably will always be a dangerous time now and forever because of the fact that global warming is making it so that grass fires are just going to keep on being a thing. Massive, massive fires like the one that wiped out that town in BC. I don't know. Probably not something we want to do. But is it moral to burn down a building? Probably not. Like it's also not moral to do a genocide or rape children or take people away from their homes and raise them to be honkies when they're not and therefore try to crush their culture. These things are also probably immoral. It's not a question of two wrongs don't make a right. It's a question of someone reacting to a horrible situation and maybe not reacting in the way that I would choose to react. But I'm not going to say, don't fucking do it, you're bad. I'm not going to say that there are better ways to go about expressing your intense burning frustration. As a honky, the last thing the world needs is for me to be like, let me tell you how to be angry. Because fuck that. I had the same take on BLM when the very small number of fires were set by Black Lives Matter activists. I'm not going to tell you those people are right or wrong. I'm going to tell you they're frustrated, and there's a whole lot we need to learn about that frustration. Was it something that I would do? Probably not. But I'm also a honky. I come from a position of power. And it's real fucking easy for us as people with privilege to look at these actions, burning of churches, burning of buildings, destruction of destruction of property, and say, oh, tut tut. But that's missing the point. That's my 2 cents on the subject. I genuinely think people need to shut the fuck up about blaming anyone until we actually have a clue. And they need to get over the fact that sometimes in the world things happen that we don't like. Hey, Amethyst Bongwater donated $20. Let's see. Tossing red paint on the door is one thing. Burning down a church is a crime, whether you think so or not. Doesn't help. I'm not saying it helps. I'm not saying it's not a crime. I'm just saying, yeah, shit's gonna happen. Sometimes crimes happen. No one is angrier than us honkies. Two wrongs make a right, not a left. I definitely don't condone the burning of the churches. I just feel each one was burned for its own reasons, and it's unfair to lump them as one giant act or movement doing that only feeds the division. Absolutely. I hear that. For some reason, I don't feel any particular empathy for the church. Probably says something about my character. I think it says something a lot more about the church. Fuck the church, right? It's really hard for me. Anytime, like the super wealthy, like so Bezos is about to go into space. Bezos and that dude from Virgin are both going into space because they're wealthy bajillionaires who can afford to do stupid shit like go into space and feel like they're somehow really important. Cool. Bezos is going into space. If his plane explodes, I will not shed a tear. If he crashes on impact, I will not shed a tear. If it bankrupts him, I will not. It can't. It can't. But I will not shed a tear. When bad things happen to the ultra wealthy, it's like, okay, well, that sucks for you. Could not care less. Zero empathy. And yeah, the church is another instance of the super wealthy as far as I'm concerned. I don't see the church does anything good. I just see it causing misery in the lives of people and historically causing misery and then refusing to fix the misery that it's caused and tut-tutting about the current state. This is the thing that pisses me off about this whole thing is the government and the church were complicit in this residential school system, and they essentially tormented generations of indigenous people. And then now they get to look at indigenous people and be like, oh, why are they all like this? Why are they all, drug addicts and homeless persons and living in reservations and all the shit? Oh, isn't it terrible? No, that's the case because you destroyed them. And now they are building themselves back up and finding strength that we honkies don't fucking have. And we need to just stay out of the way for that. And we need to help wherever we can. Zero empathy for the church. Billionaires are most definitely impotent. Yes. Impotent, but impotent. I fucking love the idea that we live in a world where billionaires can exist. And I say that because I'm very certain that at any moment I'm going to become a billionaire because, I'm white and I deserve it. Oh wait, no, that's not true. This is the concept of a billionaire is ridiculous. No one needs that kind of money. The amount of money that Bezos spent on building rocket ships to be able to blast his ego into outer space, great. Imagine we could have vaccinated Africa. Just I don't know if that number mathematically that's accurate or not, but I feel like it is. Or this is it Richard Harrington or whatever, the Virgin guy he's got his like dual planes thing that will take his little rocket close to the sky, and then he'll shoot his little rocket and he'll go outside of the Earth's atmosphere. And aren't we cool? Just don't come back. Don't fucking come back, and leave your money to charities that are actually charities and not like the bullshit charities that you create to hide money from the government. That'd be cool. The top five billionaires are collectively worth more than $1 trillion. Isn't Bezos like just on his own, like closing in on the? I guess he's not closing in on trillions, but like, fucker's doing all right. You know, he's having a hard time, really getting there with that $1 trillion number. But poor guy. I can't properly enunciate my true feelings about the Catholic Church to do them justice and have the listener feel the conviction I have for them. Huh? Me too. Long before I became aware of all of the horrors of the Catholic Church, just church in general, I felt such a disdain after becoming an atheist. That pain and anger is mostly gone, but I have no respect and no love. And the more I've learned about the actions of the various churches, whether it be about indigenous people or complicit support of the Nazis or what have you, colonization in general, it's just I got nothing. I got nothing but disdain. Is Bezos the guy going to space with some random person who bought a ticket? I have a crazy lucid dream again. Haha. I honestly don't know if Bezos is going alone or if so he's the Amazon dude. I feel like Richard Harrington is the one who's going to space with somebody, but I could be wrong. I briefly saw a thing on the news about it yesterday and was like, I don't care about this at all. I hope they die, and I don't hope they die, but I wouldn't lose sleep. I wouldn't cry. First off, I want to say thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed, please like and subscribe. It really does help me out. Thank you to my patrons that support me on Patreon. First, to the followers. Thank you to I Am Canadian. The prophets, those who receive the whispered truths before the masses. Special huge thanks go to my one prophet, Shithead Dave Anderson, the gods. This tier is the most expensive and likely to never have any members, but Patreon really told me I should have one, so it's true, I guess. There are no gods. If you want to be a patron, head over to www.patreon.com/BigUglyJim and sign up, and you too can get a hearty, rousing, full of love thanking. I try to put up stuff at least once a week, and I live stream every Saturday at noon Mountain Time on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, like an old man. Again, thanks for watching, and have a kick-ass day.